What do you think was your greatest strength as a cricketer?
I mean, first and foremost, I love playing the game. I think I always try to continue to learn, even when I was playing my last game of international cricket at 38.
Oh, it's gone straight up. Here it is. Who's under it? It's Tommy Latham. What a way to finish. Taylor gets his third test wicket and finishes his test career in the most remarkable style.
As a batsman, you know you're going to be failing more times than you succeed, so it's how you learn from that, it's how you deal with failure.
Taylor on 98.
Calls for two as he beat the fieldsman. He has. What a good 100, Taylor. Touches in the air, puts his bat in the air as well. Salutes his teammates. What a promising talent.
I think the thing for me, every time you go out to bat, whether you're playing in a club game or playing in a World Cup final, you're nervous. My routine has not changed. So if I can control my routine, I'm in a better space to hopefully make better decisions for when the bowler bowls, because once he lets the ball go, that's really all I can control.
He goes through cover. What a lovely way to bring it up. A moment to savour for Ross Taylor, the first New Zealander to make 200 against Australia.
G'day legends and welcome back to the Cricket Mentoring Podcast. I have a great man here with me and a very famous cricketer, Ross Taylor. Roscoe, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Scolls.
We're sitting here in Spain. Unfortunately, we don't have the ocean behind us. It's out the door over here. But we've just finished a wonderful week with European cricket. How have you found the Weston Shield this last week?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Played all around the world, but Spain is something new to me. It was great to have a lot of youngsters from all over the world in the World 11. Unfortunately, the cricket didn't go as well as we would have liked, but I think for the development of the game here in Europe and obviously the development of the players in our team, I think everyone learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was just so different to what we as the World 11 were used to, wasn't it? Just T10 cricket on Astro, tiny little field.
Yeah, I think, and it showed with the two best teams in the tournament were the guys who were a lot more experienced than us. The British and Irish team that won it, and the Europeans. They play on artificial a lot and play this format of T10. Obviously a lot of our players have played a lot of 2020 cricket, but T10's completely different again. And I'm sure will be better for the hit out for the next tournament and for the players that come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're coming back again later in the year. I've got a little bit of work to do on who we get back and what the strengths for this format are. But it was an absolute pleasure to have you as our captain and to sort of spend time with you and learn from you. I want to go back to your cricket now. You're obviously 21st. You've got the 21 most runs in international cricket ever. An incredible achievement, 18,199 runs, 40 international hundreds. What do you think was your greatest strength as a cricketer?
First and foremost, I love playing the game. And then with that love came the willingness and to obviously be disciplined and try and get better. I think I always try to continue to learn, even when I was playing my last game of international cricket at 38. And I think that put me in good stead to ride the highs and lows of cricket, because as a batsman, you're going to be failing more times than you succeed. So it's how you learn from that, it's how you deal with failure, but continually just trying to get better and adapting to situations. Obviously batting in the middle order as well. There was, even in my second or third to last game, I was in the situations that I'd never been in probably 800 games of professional cricket. So I'd say to any young kid out there, continually learn, continually put yourself under pressure and continually ask questions as well.
And so going back to your teenage years, when you were sort of learning the game, did you have any mentors, and was there anything that someone told you that sort of really flicked a switch, or was a great piece of advice that you could sort of pass on to others?
When I played international cricket, I had Martin Crowe as a mentor, but as a youngster growing up, I had a lot of influential coaches. I didn't have one person per se. I don't think. Growing up in a little place in New Zealand called Masterton, I was always playing with kids that were older than me, and I had a ball on a string and on a tree, and I used to hit balls for 2 or 3 hours a day. So as a 9 and 10-year-old, I was teaching myself, not even knowing, it was probably just more to kill time. A work ethic, and I was probably hitting more balls as a 10, 11-year-old than any kid in New Zealand.
Yeah, and that seems to be the thing that separates the greatest from those that don't quite make it, is that love which underpins the work. At what point did you sort of think you were decent and a career in cricket might be possible?
Yeah, I guess like most cricketers, they tend to be quite good at other sports as well. And for me, I was a good hockey player. Probably why I try and tend to hit everything to the leg side. Try to hit the offside every now and then. But I made my Central Districts age group debut at about 12, so I think that gave me a push to continually want to improve. And then I got a bat sponsor with Gunnar at 13. So I'd had one bat my whole life, and then at 13 I got my first full contract with Gunnar. And as a youngster, getting a bat contract like that gives you even more reason to want to continue and improve in your game. But it wasn't until I made the New Zealand under-19 team at 16 that I thought I saw a pathway to making cricket a living. Obviously wanted to play for New Zealand and play for Central Districts, but also want to make a living out of it as well. And hockey, there wasn't that pathway, so probably at 16 or 17 it was an easy decision to go to cricket. And obviously worked out all right, and glad I made that decision.
And so how did the Gunnar sponsorship come about as a 13-year-old?
So I went to the Central Districts age group tournament, and I had a bat and some borrowed pads. My sister the family brought me a cricket bag for Christmas, and then that was the only gear I had, so I had to borrow everything else. So I went to the tournament, and the Central District selector said, "Ross, is there anything we can do to help out?" And I said, "Can I just get some gear?" Rang up their contacts, Gunnar sent some sample products down. Went to the Nationals, got 120, 99 and 150. And then 2 months later, 2 days before my 14th birthday, I got a full contract from Gunnar. So my grandmother said to be loyal, and I've been with them ever since. So yeah, do the math on that. It's about 26, 27 years. So.
And so you representing New Zealand under-19s as a 16-year-old, you're obviously playing against the older, bigger boys, and you're going very well for your age. Do you think that's all just down to hitting the ball on the string constantly? Was there anything else in those teenage years that made you so good for your age?
But I think playing against kids that were older than you constantly, and playing against men, I think in New Zealand especially, quite often the districts succeed at age group level better than the city boys, because they're playing against men in the weekend. So, you're a 15, 16-year-old playing against grown men, bowling faster, testing you out mentally, sledging you. So when you go and play age group, I think you're not under as... you want to do well, and you're not under as much stress. A 17, 18-year-old sledging you is not quite the same as a grown man. And I think just those little things about being put under pressure constantly from a young age probably helped out. And I think you look at the New Zealand team now, a lot of guys have come from the districts and have succeeded for a long period of time.
Yeah, nice. Now, moving into your batting, what were your technical fundamentals throughout your career? Was it eyes level, head still, grip? What were some things that you'd sort of go back to all the time?
I think the thing for me, every time you go out to bat, whether you're playing in a club game or playing in a World Cup final, you're nervous. Obviously, you deal with nerves a lot better. The older you get and the more experience you get. But for me, from when I was probably around 14 or 15 to not quite the same here in Spain, because it's artificial, but it was my routine. My routine has not changed, and I can't control what the bowler's going to do, but I can control my mind. I can control my routine when I go out to bat and breathe. Slow my heart rate down, try and sum up the situation, and just slow everything down and bat at my pace. So if I can control my routine, then I'm in a better space to hopefully make better decisions for when the bowler bowls, because once he lets the ball go, that's really all I can control.
Well, that was my next question. Do you have a mental routine that you follow every ball? So can you go a little bit deeper into that? And is that something you just worked out yourself, or is it something you worked on with a psych? Or?
No, I had a lot of sports psychologists that I worked with when I played for New Zealand, but as a kid, I think it just evolved and grew. And it was as simple as walking out, deep breathing, take centre or middle and leg when you're bowling, when a left arm spinner or leg spinner is bowling, pat down the grass, scratch it again, move out, do a couple of crouches, come back, and that was my trigger to start my innings and get going. And then I'll do that at the other end as well, every time. And that, I guess, that was my routine, but it gave me comfort as well.
And in between balls, was it just you pat the wicket?
I think as it got on, your nerves started to decrease, you get into the game, you understand what the situation of the game is, where you're going, and you might be on 10 or 15 runs. Everything starts slowing down a little bit more, not as deliberate in your routine, but I think depending on the format of the game and how you were going, I think it would be probably to see how deliberate I was. But it's funny, I mean, obviously you got Australian viewers would watch this, but I always knew I was doing my routine well when Ricky Ponting would yell at me from second slip to hurry up and face the bowlers. So that was a good cue that I was taking my time, and the bowlers were having to wait till I'm ready within reason.
And did you have anything you'd say to yourself, like watch the ball, win this?
I think it was funny, I went through a lot of different stages in my career, and for me, words would only resonate with me for probably a year, so I almost had to change the word, whether it was play straight, play tight, and words would come back again, or trust. But yeah, it was interesting that whether it was just a conscious or subconscious, those words would only mean, would only work for me, I think, for 6 to 12 months, and I'll have to refresh and change it up.
We're just taking a break from this episode for a minute to tell you about the cricket mentoring community. We're on a mission to build the world's best community of cricketers, coaches, and parents. So no matter where in the world you live or what level you're at right now, the cricket mentoring community can help you. If you're committed to your game and serious about becoming the best cricketer you can be and person you can be off the field, then join cricketers from over 24 countries around the world in the cricket mentoring community. Get access to myself and other CM mentors and experts from around the world as we aim to teach you the 6 pillars of success: technical, tactical, mental, emotional, physical, and lifestyle, so that you can become the best you can be. If this excites you and you're ready to take the next step in your journey, then click on the link in the description below and join the cricket mentoring community now.
And so a lot of young players struggle with sledging. The reason people sledge is to distract you and take your attention away from the present moment. You got Ricky Ponting yelling at you, like, did that ever bother you? Or you able to just block that sort of stuff out?
Well, as I said, I almost saw it as a thing that I was doing my routine right when everything was slowing down. Because cricket, it is nerve-wracking when you haven't faced the ball. So if you can put your heart rate down enough to get into your mental state, playing your bubble, whatever the words are that resonate with you. But then when you face up, you watch the ball as intently as possible and then make a good decision and react.
And so between formats, obviously Test cricket, you're just reacting, they're trying to bowl a lot more patiently and you've got plenty of time, but T20 cricket, you've got to be thinking about the scoreboard and who's got overs left and what's going on. So how much did it change from the formats, and were you someone who was like trying to constantly solve problems, or were you just someone that was like just trusting that you'd react to whatever's coming?
Yeah, I think once again, it was when you play such a long career, you learn to deal with situations better as you get older. But when I first started out, 2020 cricket was in its infancy. No one really knew that it was going to be as big as it was. We used to play 1, maybe 2 games before a one-day series. So we almost saw it as a warm-up game to the one-days. And then you'd go and slog and maybe get 20. And then you would almost start playing properly in the one-day game where, fast forward 5 or 6 years, it's a serious game, competitive, and then you would have to learn how to adjust. And some days you would play a test match and 2 days later you're playing a 2020 and vice versa. And you did get better at dealing with it, but I think if I was to do it again, I wouldn't make that much of a difference. I think you still go around do your basics, go through your preparation. But from Test cricket to 2020 you don't have to hit the ball that much harder, and then vice versa, you don't have to constantly think you've got to block and leave a lot. As long as you're making right decisions, if the ball's in your area to play the shot, then do it.
Yeah, nice. And so one thing that a lot of people struggle with is letting go of bad failure or a low score and dwelling on it. How did you go with that throughout your career?
It's something that I struggle with, and I'm sure a lot of people struggle with. I think you've got to critique yourself because you don't want to just say, oh, that's the way I play. But you do have to analyse it enough that you learn from it, but then that doesn't detract from your next innings and I guess making you gun shy about maybe playing the shot that you didn't execute well, or putting yourself and beating yourself up so much that it affects your mental preparation and your mental mindset that goes into the next game or the next time you play that team or that bowler. Because that came in for me, and I suppose when you play against a team over a series, I almost found that easier. You got to know what bowlers were trying to do over a 5-match series than just playing a one-off game. That's where I think for me World Cups were quite tough because you only played a team once, where 3-5-match series, someone has your number over a couple of games. You know how they're going to try and get you out, and you can mentally get yourself into a position to try and combat that and learn and hopefully not make the same mistake again.
Yeah, you spoke about in one of your second last games, you were in a situation you've never been in before. Did you change how you played your game based on what the scoreboard said? If you're walking in at 2 for 10 or 2 for 200, did you change much, or were you just always doing whatever made you best?
But then, regardless of where it is, I go back to my routine. That was the same. But then I guess there's so many other different factors that come into it. You know, you're about to retire, your family, you're wanting to finish on a high, and then you put extra pressure on yourself. Where if it was just a normal game, you might have had 2 or 3 years left in your career. You just go out there and bat, where you're sort of batting, going, "No, this is probably the last time this could be the last time I do this," or and bat in that situation. So whether it's cricket or life in general, you're continually learning. So yeah, whatever you're doing now, I'm sure you'll still be learning in 2 or 3 years' time. It's funny when people talk about, I wouldn't change anything. I don't know what believe you. I think it's actually a good thing that I would have done things differently in this situation, and I think that's a positive.
Yeah, well, that's because you've evolved and learned from that. So it's probably all the stuff you've already covered, but you've played with and against some of the game's greatest players. What are some traits of the best players that you've seen both you've played with and played against?
I think they're mentally very good and they train very hard. And I think that was the biggest thing for me as a player from New Zealand and playing IPL. I think we used to always put these other teams on a bit of a pedestal. And almost felt like when we played Australia, the New Zealand team would watch Australia in the warm-ups, and Andrew Simons and Michael Clark and Ricky Ponting are hitting the stumps every second throw, and we were beaten before we played. And I'm sure there was some mental scarring from years gone by as well. But then IPL came along, and you were sharing the dressing room with these players, and you saw that they were human. I think, were they better than you? Yes, but only just. And I think that broke down the walls, that broke down the aura of these other teams, South Africa, India, and that made New Zealand, you talk to Brendan McCullum, how was Ricky Ponting in the Calcutta change room, Jacob Oram, how was Matthew Hayden, and from those discussions, you learned that they were very good players, but they weren't that much better than us, where I think when you watch them from afar, we thought they were just that much better than us.
Well, growing up, there was no social media for us, so for me, when I saw someone on TV, I just thought they were like a special, or they had something and getting to know people like yourself and others who have been great cricketers, you do realise they're just a human being who's become excellent at that thing. Moving into coaching now, which is obviously where your career is sort of close to transitioning, you're obviously going to start playing again soon, but what do you think makes a good coach?
I think be a good coach. I suppose I'm still, this is a little bit of where I want to get to, but then also the best coaches that I had. There's the modern coach, they talk about no ups, try and keep as level as possible, but at the same time, I don't mind a coach that shows a little bit of emotion every now and then. You want to win games of cricket. You don't want them to have those big ups and downs, but having the little bits of emotion of being a little bit down, a little bit up, I think is a good thing to be, because you care. You don't want to be a robot and just be that mundane person that sits in the corner. Best coaches, you just got to know your players as well as possible, and that's the thing about cricket. And if you can just get to them on a level other than just technical and mental, there's so many other things that can come into affecting how you are as a batter, your form, You're placing aside what's happening at home, but unless you know your players, that becomes a lot harder to, I guess, have that rapport with a player. And I've had fortunate enough to play coach in Dubai, obviously Big Bash with Brisbane Heat and Major League at MRC, and every tournament is slightly different. So from a batting point of view, trying to franchise cricket is tough because it's only a 4 to 5 week tournament, and especially when you just turn up to try and get to know your players. But if you can pass on one bit of knowledge and improve them, then hopefully you're making them a better cricketer and you're becoming a slightly better coach. But I think it's as you get there over time and stay there for 2 or 3 years, I think you have a bigger impact than just a one-off tournament.
Yeah, amazing. And we're going to wrap up shortly, just a short, sharp chat before I depart Spain. Ross has got another couple of days to enjoy the sunshine on the golf course, I think. How did you, when you were playing, manage life outside of cricket, juggle, like, getting away from cricket?
I mean, everyone's different in that. For me, when we're on tour, I reckon I played 3 rounds of golf my whole career. I didn't really see any point in playing golf 5 days in the sun for a test match and then going spending another 2 days in the sun playing golf at very nice golf courses. For me, it was just trying to have a sleep in, try and get away from cricket as much as I can. And for me, if the family are on tour, obviously spend some time with them. If not, just go to a cafe and people watch. Had hobbies of reading up on wine, and most of the countries you go to, you either know someone from IPL or got family and friends all over the world, so it's nice to catch up with them. But if not, just have a sleep in and try not to think about things too much. And I was fortunate enough that at the start of my career, you know, the internet, the cell phones and Skype and things like that were coming through. So you could at least see the kids growing up and seeing videos on WhatsApp, where I don't think the players before me had their luxury of going on those long tours and probably not having any interaction with their kids. So that definitely made it a little bit easier when you're touring, but still made it pretty tough.
Well, that's the sacrifice that a lot of people don't realise. You get this sort of fame and you get a nice life of doing something you love, but you said the other night you sort of left after your son or daughter was born. You left 2 weeks after, or a few days after the second time, and you had to leave Sussex early because your wife was going into labour. And it's those sacrifices, being away from your family, that a lot of people don't see, and that are tough, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tough, but you know that's what you decided to do for a job, so you have to do that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of upside to the career, don't get me wrong, but I think the time with your family, being away, I think there was one, I think it was 2017 or 18, I spent 17 days at home for the whole year, which is, I mean, looking back on it, that's ridiculous. And then my daughter, and I guess they're old enough, but my youngest daughter, Adelaide, I missed her first 5 birthdays. Wow. So it was like, yeah, poor dad in that regard, but hopefully you're building them a better life and giving them an opportunity to, you know, they've got to see the world as well. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there are definitely the tough moments.
Now, what's next for you? What have you got coming up?
Coming up, you got a tough weekend watching the Lakers, the Timberwolves in LA, and then the mighty Wires, up the Wires, the Auckland Warriors playing in Vegas. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cricket that goes on. Still doing some work for Seattle. It just seems to, from one event to another. So hopefully got some news in the next month or so that I can't really divulge. I think you know what it is, but you never know. Might come out of retirement and we'll have to wait and see.
Big inside scoop. Now, final thing, what would you say to your 15-year-old self if you were sitting here right now with your 15-year-old self? What advice would you give yourself?
Don't sweat the small stuff, I think. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself as a batter especially, and there's a lot of the stuff that you can't control. If you can just let go of as much of that as possible, still want to learn and still want to critique yourself hard, but not hard enough that it's to the detriment of how your mental preparation is for the next game.
Awesome. Roscoe, thank you.
Scolls.
It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed this episode or any of our content, then please do me a big favour and subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers we get, the bigger the guests we can get on and continue to help you on your journey of becoming the best you can be.